you remember my imaginary friends?
You can't remember if you're imaginary friends or the voices in your fucking head.
What's the difference? Do you remember what you would yell to me when I was off in my own world?
Gert to Gert.
Where are you, Gert? Earth to Gert. Gert. Earth to Gert. So I'm starting a podcast, and that's the title.
Gert to Gert.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Earth to Gert. This episode was supposed to go out in June for Men's Mental Health Month, but June was extremely busy and extremely emotional, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to sit down and edit anything, especially one where I can hear how much my old insecurities are taking over. This is actually an episode where I sort of hope my counselor doesn't listen to, even though I'm not in therapy right now. It's quite evident to me where I need to do some work. It's quite evident to me in all of the episodes I've put out so far, just how much I'm sitting in my own shit. Which is fine. I'm okay with going through waves of life like that. I'm just getting better at surfing them, I think, and not shaming myself for needing to spend some days in bed. And that's what I did on my days off in June. I relaxed a lot. So I didn't get to editing this, but here we are now, finally, with this episode with my buddy Terry from the sauna. I am newly addicted to this place. Well, since I've been going there since February. I initially started going because of the health benefits that you get from a sauna. You know, reduces stress, improves your cardiovascular health, muscle recovery, better sleep, better mood, and it lowers the risks of chronic diseases, and just like you can just feel it flushing out all of the toxins. I don't know. I love it. But what I didn't anticipate, and I realized after just one session, is the community that exists within the sauna. No two sessions are the same. And it's just a fun atmosphere. Some nights are therapeutic where everybody's like reassuring me that as soon as my kids go away to college, I'm going to be just fine. And I'm going to love this next chapter of life. And they offer so many different kinds of sessions. They have different rituals and, breath work and sound baths, and there's a book club and EDM music dance party. I haven't done that one yet. Singing, and there's just so many different options. Or you could just go to one of their regular sessions. But I fell in love with this place, and I connected with one of the folks that work there, my buddy Terry. Terry's just a fun, silly guy, and we've been having fun doing cannonballs and silly salmons, jumping into the Saratoga Lake. So yeah, this is my chat with my buddy Terry. Thanks for listening. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Thanks for being on my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for walking up Bear Slide.
I know, this is a perfect setting to record a podcast.
The mosquitoes are
they're an added touch.
A little thick.
Yeah, they're an added touch. How do we know each other?
Well, I work at KOS Sauna, the floating public sauna on Saratoga Lake.
My new favorite addiction.
Yeah. And so I met you. You came in. I don't recall, I guess, the very first interaction, but I mean,
I think
we
our
built
first
on it.
I think our first connection was over music. We chatted over music.
Oh yeah, because I think you
Yeah.
were telling me that the music I was listening to,
I wasn't vibing
your
with it.
teenage kids
Yes.
listen to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember.
But I think we ended up connecting on some similarities.
Yeah.
We crossed similarities there. So this month I am highlighting Men's Mental Health Month. So I guess I want to tell you specifically why I asked you to be on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So
Can we eat on this podcast?
You can eat on the podcast.
I won't chew too loud.
I was just going to say, I might not be able to edit out the chewing, so if you want people to hear you chew, I'm not the greatest editor yet. So back in January, I was in therapy, and I think I was actually crying very hard during the session, feeling like I was just so disconnected from everybody in life, and I just didn't have like a tribe or a community, or I wasn't really like connecting with anyone on a regular basis. And part of that is just like wintertime stuff,
Yeah.
and there's not as much happening, but I was sort of like, I don't know, just in a weird spot, I guess. So a friend of mine had mentioned the sauna, and I went and was hooked after one session for the health benefits. Like, that's why I was interested in the sauna. But then the more I looked into it, I was learning about the community. There is such an awesome community at the sauna, and you specifically are someone that I've connected with. I really admire the way that you are trying to foster community, and you have a very successful book club happening within the sauna, and you get together outside of the sauna with folks, and you have some different group chats happening. So I, on this podcast, like to highlight the tools that I use in community and connection, and they have just been awesome, and the benefits of the sauna. So you and I have hung out a couple of times outside the sauna, gone for some little hikes or walks. So we're up here in Luzerne at the Bear Slides, and before we hit record, we were chatting in depth about our mental health and our journeys to how we got to where we are. And I'm not surprised to learn that we have some similarities, which I assumed that's why we connect and vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like I said, I don't have any real agenda other than just talking about our mental health. So, what's your story? What can you tell me about like your life, your journey with your mental health?
Yeah, no, shoot, I don't even know. I guess it'd be, we all start at birth, right? I really didn't start considering mental health, or like, I think that's a perfectly natural thing when you're young to not really consider, you know, you're too busy just experiencing life, trying to hang out with your friends and I guess just do wild things, I guess. But it doesn't come till later on, hopefully, if you're lucky, because, you know, sometimes some people aren't fortunate enough to have the ability to want to look and assess their mental health. But it gets to a point where you assess kind of like, are the things that I'm doing good for me physically and mentally? Am I even happy doing the things that I'm doing? And then addressing, you know, like what those feelings are and how you want to move forward. But I think a lot of it for me has just been like trial and error. I mean, it goes in waves. Like sometimes I'm going a whole year of doing what I really love. I really feel like I fit in, and then there will be a low point where something changes and I'm faced again with constantly reassessing where I'm at. And so I don't think it's static in the sense of you can improve your mental health, but I feel like it's a constant battle as to assessing it and working to always be improving it, or at least holding on to, you know, as much as you can.
Have you ever struggled with anxiety or depression? And how has that shown up in your life?
Yeah, actually, I don't think it was until the last 5 years that I think I'd always had a little bit of depression, especially as a child, just some things that I went through. I guess I kind of felt depressed. I didn't know really what that was until about 5 years ago, when I went through a couple things. I went through a divorce. I went through a lot of changes. I gotten out of the military. A lot of things changed in my life. And it really caused me to like assess where I wanted, or like what I wanted, and like where I was at. And I identified that I had been struggling with depression. And
How does that show up for you? Does it? Because I've in preparation for men's mental health been reading about how depression shows up differently for guys. Like, how would you describe how it shows up for you, or showed up for you?
A lot of time physically, like doom scrolling and laying in bed and just like ruminating on just things that were, I guess, the cause of the depression. I feel like as far as showing up, like I would go outside, the sun like felt like a different shade of light. Like the whole outside just, when I was going through those depressions, just didn't seem like the same nature I had, you know?
I think that's a really good way to put it, because I can sort of relate to that.
Yeah. And like being in a social situation, like I could have 100 people around me, but I was not there, you know what I mean? I was inside myself somewhere hiding, you know? And so that would make, you know, social situations seem very odd a lot of times. But I guess that's the main ways depression showed up. And then anxiety was just like an intense feeling in my body, essentially. Like, you know when you smoke and get anxiety, you ever smoke and get anxiety? It'd be like that times a million, like inside your chest, and you're just like alert, and you're scared of something, but you don't know, unless you look at it, you don't know what it is. And you're just constantly like, you can't sit still, you feel like you need to do a million things at once and nothing at all.
Would you ever describe it as like paralyzing? I think that's how I feel when I'm in that doom scrolling state, is like, I don't want to be doom scrolling, but I also can't do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially. You're like, you need to be doing, you need to be up doing something else, and you're telling yourself every minute you're going to do it, and then next thing you know, 12 hours go by, and now you're even more depressed. You know?
Yeah, it is a vicious cycle. And you just sort of get caught in loops, I think. So what you said in particular 5 years ago was tough for you, going through all those changes in life. What, other than just time and moving through it, what did you do to get through it? What were some of your tools that you used?
Physical activity, first and foremost. One thing I've always held on to, I could lay in bed for 12 hours, but I knew like the bare minimum I had to work out. Like either lift weights, do push-ups, do calisthenics, go for a walk. So there were times where, like, you know, months on end I would be in a depressed state and stuck, but I always was like, if I always work out, at least I did something. And from there it kind of built. It was like, all right, I work out now, I feel good. I don't want to go back to that. You know what I mean? So what else can I do? Oh, well, I like spending time in nature. I like hiking, tubing down the river, you know, just being active. And so a lot of it was physical activity. And then just really capitalizing on the things you like to do. Like, now I guess this is a hard one because not everyone has the opportunity to kind of be like, I'm not happy in this job and I'm going to go figure something else out. But it took a lot of time to just do that, which was like, sometimes I'd work somewhere and I'm like, it's been a week. I don't see myself being happy here. And unfortunately, I'm just going to find something else.
That's sort of how I've lived my adult life too. And
And so like once you start doing that, you start to like learn a lot about yourself, you know, like what when the money's running low and you quit the job because you were unhappy, you really start to like,
Yeah.
I have to face whatever's making me depressed because I don't have time to sit down right now and dwell, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the biggest one was really just capitalizing on the things that are bringing you joy.
Yeah.
And just do them over and over until they're habits.
Yeah. That reminds me, in one of the episodes that I put out this year, in like the intro, or maybe it was towards the end when I was closing one of the episodes, I talked about how I have stopped going to therapy.
Yep.
I have been fortunate to work with the same therapist for the past 10 years. And for the first 4 years, I would just go when I needed to. You know, I'd go for a little bit, then I'd start to feel good, and I'd be like, I'll call you in a few months or whatever, and then something would come up, and then whatever. Then the pandemic hit, and I went through a breakup, and I just, since then, have been going consistently every 2 to 3 weeks, literally since 2020. This year, I made the decision to stop going, and when I was saying that in the episode, I sort of chuckled. One of the factors in not going is a financial thing. So I chuckled because I was about to say I'd rather go do cannonballs with Terry at the sauna than pay for therapy. Not that there's not greater value in talking to a therapist, but like paying for my membership at the sauna and doing cannonballs and hanging out, like just doing those things that bring joy to me. I have talked so much about the things that didn't bring me joy, that I'm in this era where I just want to have fun. And looking at these slides, I'm going down them as soon as we're done recording this podcast. Like,
all right, well.
So yeah, I totally agree that just finding that joy in life again.
Yeah, and I think like once you start, you know, you always hear, I think if you're not in like a tight group of friends you've had for years on end, and you know, people drift apart when you're older. So once you're older, it's a little harder to like find a community you belong in. Yeah. And so, but I think like once you continuously do what is bringing you joy, you attract those people for sure, but you find those people within those communities where you're like, wait, this is more than just us enjoying this. Like we can talk. And like in the case of like therapy, not that it's not a good resource, but it's like, oh, well, I see, like maybe I'll just tell this person this instead of going to therapy, and they might understand and hold space for me while we enjoy something.
I think that's one of a huge thing that we're lacking with this invention of social media is, and Barbara and I in my last podcast talked about this too, is there's no real like deep connection through social media, through texting one another. Like he was saying, like he's in this group text, but it's very superficial. Like you touch base with people every single day, but like when do you get time to sit down and really talk about like what you're insecure about, what is really on your mind, like stress wise, and like, so I just don't think we give each other that space anymore to like open up. Like, and I am still struggling with this, like, you know, in wanting to, in putting out this podcast, or even before I did the podcast, even just to post on social media, I'd need to run it by somebody. Right. And like, is this stupid? Does it sound stupid? What do you think of this? And like, now with the podcast, like I'm struggling, is that a need or is that a want? Is there a part of me that needs that conversation before I put it out? Like that's good like art. Like people do many drafts before they put out their final product, right? Is that just why I'm doing it? Or am I doing it because like I need that? But this year, like I have wanted to have conversations with people, but I don't want to bother them because I think they're too busy, or
Right.
like, you know, maybe they're sick of hearing me talk about this stuff,
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
you know, like I'm telling myself all these stories in my head. So it's like that balance for me
Yeah.
of, am I doing it because I'm just scared and like I need some sort of reassurance?
Yeah, that's a good
Or, I don't know, am I not doing it because I'm scared to get that connection? You know, I don't know.
No, I think I get what you're saying, because I'd struggle with like some of that too, where perfectly normal and healthy things to approach people on, you question whether you're like, am I being a burden to this
Yes.
person?
Yes.
But I think like a lot of what's kind of like a deprogramming, which I'm still trying to go through, where like if the person is the right fit for like that role in my life, and I can approach them and say that, hey, can you check this over? They're gonna accept that, and if they don't, then I have to reflect and be like, well, then that person might not be able to be there for me in the ways that I would want them to. Now, and that's okay. Like, I just got to find the people that are. And so like, but it's a deprogramming of being like, you're not a burden, you know what I mean? Like, you're not like, if you want somebody to check over your work and that's something you want to do, you know, like, the right person should be like, yeah, I'll do that all day. Let me help you.
Right. But then it's also that rejection, because what if they are too busy? And like, I'd be okay with that, but there's also that little bit of rejection.
And then there's
so
the
then
rumination.
and then I'm also, and even when I ask people to do this podcast, I'm afraid that someone's gonna, maybe because I struggle with saying no, that someone's gonna say yes even when they don't really want to.
Yeah,
you know?
I get that. I've been
I
in
hope,
the,
I hope you weren't one of those people.
No. Definitely want to do this. Plus, you like to, you know, come out hiking, so this is a great 2-in-1 here.
I think it's pretty cool that we have like not a traditional work schedule too. So it's a random Wednesday morning. We're hanging out at the Bear Slides. Like, it's...
No, but I definitely get that. And that's a really interesting, I haven't thought too much on that, like with other people, because I didn't, that's another topic. You're like, I don't know if other people feel that and I would bring that up, like where I have the same thing. Like, I want to ask people for help sometimes. And I think there's a lot of social factors that go into it. A lot of like socially seeking help is already hard enough. But like socially, there's a stigma and whatever. And I don't even just mean mental health. I mean any health, any help at all. And you go through those ruminations of like, did they just say yeah because they feel bad for me, or they're like, oh, they roll their eyes behind my back and they're like, I gotta help this guy.
Maybe they don't really have time, but they're squeezing me in, and now like I'm fucking up their life, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
And that's not a. I don't think I've ever talked to somebody about that before. Because people don't. That shows a little bit of insecurity on, but that, you know, that's okay. But it shows like, even though you walk around confidently, if you say no to me, sometimes I'm like, is it because you dislike me? And it's really just because they're like, no, I have to be at a basketball game in an hour, so.
Or it could be because, like in the case of the podcast, it's really scary for some people to get on here and talk about their shit.
No, absolutely.
And like open up. So is that normal stuff people say, you know, in their head? Are we all going through this, or is that anxiety talking to us?
I think that's anxiety. I don't know though. It's really hard to tell, because a lot of people, like, we're all humans, so we all experience relatively the same emotions, whether someone suffers from anxiety. I know people who tell me they don't. But I'm like, how? Like,
well, especially evolutionarily, we have to, because we wouldn't have survived. Like, we have to be on alert for threats, so we all have, and I guess that's like the nervous system where you come in and out of it.
I don't know. Yeah, again, it's like not. a widely talked about
Right.
thing in society.
Right.
And some people seem like they've got it all under control, but you have no idea, you know? You just have no idea.
People have said that about me. Like once I started going sort of public with my anxiety and stuff, that they never would have known
Yeah.
how anxious I am on the inside. Or like, especially if anyone has seen me out in public in my adult life, I was internally absolutely shitting myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. When I first started at the sauna, people would be like, "You're very chill." But inside, I was screaming.
Yeah, I bet.
Inside, I was
Yeah.
like, I want to freak out,
Yeah.
but thank you.
Yeah.
And now I've been able to quell that with what we've talked about,
Yeah.
plus the sauna is, it'll do it to you. You don't have a
absolutely.
choice.
Yeah.
But it would, the reflection of other people being like, I would have never, and you're like, no, dude, I was about to freak out.
Yeah. Yeah. I literally had to have the biggest pep talk.
Yeah.
It still like amazes me the things that I had been so scared to do that I'm doing. It's just weird to not feel the things in my body that I used to feel.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, but I didn't realize how anxious I was until I started healing the anxiety. And I would be in situations where, like, for instance, the biting the nails. And I probably have told this story, but I used to bite my nails so bad from the time I was a child.
I still do. I need
And,
you to
like,
help me out.
So I clearly still do too. It was so bad, like chronically always ripping them apart.
Yeah.
And I started healing things. It was actually during the pandemic when, and I think this is why anxiety is so much like your environment and the way that we live. Like once life like calmed down, and I wasn't in a relationship. And I was living like alone, just me and my kids. Like I had very little stressors.
Yeah.
So I stopped biting my nails, and then the moments where I would get the urge to bite my nails, I was able to recognize that I was feeling anxious. So I was like, that all those other times, and it's been very true since I've stopped biting my nails. The only times that I do pick at my nails are when I'm anxious.
I got to figure that one out because I bite them for fun. Like, it's just been something I've done since I was a kid.
I thought I was too, but
Okay. Maybe I'm just anxious all the time and I
don't know, maybe.
I feel like I've done a lot better with anxiety, but I still bite them all the time.
Yeah.
Which is a gross habit, but it just
once
is.
like life picked back up, the habit sort of picked back up, and now I just go through waves, and I can literally tell, like, I'll know I'm getting anxious before, like, physically, before I mentally know it, because of those things that I do to numb it. It's
That's
crazy.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta assess that.
It's been quite the learning. So community, connection. What else?
Facing it.
Facing it.
Facing what's causing those, which again it's just a cycle, like, because you're always gonna have new. Some days I'm worried about my health. Some days I'm worried about my finances. Some days I'm worried about some shit that happened in 6th grade. But when the thing is, at first you're like, I don't know what's causing anxiety and depression, but I think, and I guess this is my opinion, but ultimately I think you do.
Yeah.
You know what is bringing that. It's whether you look at it or not.
Yeah.
And a lot of your stress and your depression, your anxiety can be, you just got to look at it. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's good. It make you feel all sorts of emotions: shame, guilt, sad, happy. But once you like look at it and process that, it can't really hold you down anymore.
That reminds me of something that I've always said is like, it's like the noise. Like we all have that noise in the back of our head that's there that we don't really pay attention to. And I think EMDR for me, that's what that has done, is it has like shined that flashlight into those corners of whatever, and just like brought that to the forefront and makes you pay attention. And a lot of it is those insecurities that we don't talk about or address, or like, you know, deep down, like when that event happened to me, what sort of underlying thing did that tell me about myself? Like what is the thought that I hold about myself because of this event, because of this memory or whatever?
Yeah.
And it makes you face it.
Yeah. And I think another thing, it sounds kind of crazy. Well, there's two parts to this. The first one is psilocybin mushrooms. To me, I've only used them in like a ceremonial aspect and like a healing aspect. I've never really like done it around a campfire, like went out, and I always do it by myself or like at a ceremony. And to me, it feels like like a spotlight goes off in your brain, and it like exposes the dusty corners of your brain, and it forces you to look at them. Yeah. And it's so uncomfortable sometimes, especially when you're on psilocybin, because you can't get out of it. But if you fight it, it gets worse. Right. But if you look at it after like a couple minutes, you're like, oh, on to the next thing. Yeah. But if you keep fighting it, it just gets worse and worse. And that's the same off of psilocybin. Yeah. You keep fighting it, just builds up in your body, builds up in your mind. Right. You forget about it, but it's always there. It's that noise. But then the other part that also helped, and this sounds kind of silly, but I realized like there's a child inside of you, and that child, like, that child gets triggered, that child gets hurt by things that happened when you were you were a kid, and that lives inside your body. And so one thing I just started this like a year or two ago. I literally will I will like communicate with my childhood self. I can tell when my childhood self is anxious from some stuff, and I will literally like be like, hey, Terry, I'm here now. Like we don't gotta worry about that. Like we will sort that out. Yeah. And I can feel my like calm down inside. Yeah. And that helped me a lot. I would just literally like talk to my childhood self and just be like, we're an adult now. We'll protect you. You know, like yeah.
That's so cool. That doesn't sound silly at all to me. I think that's amazing. That is a lot of the work that we do. When you started to say that, you reminded me of the book that we just read in our book club. When the main character wrote to her daughter and said, I forget the exact line, but like, you may know me as your mother, but inside I'm just a little girl or something along that lines. And that's where I got in my EMDR work, in reflecting on my connection with my mother. And like, because when I started, I was holding some sort of resentment, and through my work, like that just all sort of dissipated, because at the end of the day, and that's what I loved about this book, like you might know somebody on some level, but what their inner child or whatever is processing, or what they're going through in life, like we really have no idea why someone comes to a situation, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's so I I don't know how to say this without sounding like a jerk. I'm sort of surprised to talk to a guy that is talking about their inner child and doing inner child work. Like that part surprised me. Not too many. I mean, I guess I don't really hang out with a lot of dudes, so maybe that's why. But I think that's awesome.
I don't know. I don't talk about this with a lot of guys either. I will. It's just, it's not a...
Yeah. The other thing, I'm super fascinated about the psilocybin, because I have never tried it, because I don't want to do it around the campfire. I want that ceremonial thing. And anything that I've read about it therapeutically, it's been like described to me as like a clean slate of like, do you feel that at all? So we sort of like have these neural pathways, and we always sort of go down this like one train of thought or whatever, and like after a dose of, you know, the psilocybin, like it's like fresh tracks, like, and you can create new neural pathways.
There's definitely some of that.
Yeah.
It really depends on, I guess, the intensity of the trip and really kind of what your intentions are with it.
Yeah.
But you do, at least I have found, like when you come out of it, you have a good rest because your body's just gone through some crazy stuff, body and your mind. You have a good rest. You wake up with a different perspective.
Yeah.
Those things are still there that you've worked on or that you thought about.
Yeah.
But you start to gain a little bit of a different, like, appreciation for it, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it might not affect you as much. I mean, it just depends on, I guess, the level of what you're working with.
Yeah.
But you definitely come out of a trip, like, with a new perspective and a new, like, way to exist, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
But they're really, so I actually got into it because I lived in Florida, and I had just gone through a divorce. I had just moved to Florida to get away from the situation I was in. And I was down at this farmer's market every Thursday on Jensen Beach, Florida. And I met this woman who like had a stand there, and she had all the homemade pendants and like all whatever. She
Witchy
must have
stuff.
Yeah, and she must have like known I was like going through something.
Yeah.
I mean, you wear your emotions out,
Yeah.
especially like people can see them.
Yeah.
But she was like, "Hey, you ever done mushrooms?" And it sounds like a crazy, like, or just a wild story. Like, actually, it is. But
Yeah.
and I was like, "No," and she's like, "We do mushroom ceremonies at my house." And
You went to just some random lady's house.
I did. I took a chance. And they had shamans from Colombia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, there's like, during a ceremony, they set up like an altar
Yeah.
and this tent where the shaman sits.
Yeah.
And we started at like 10 o'clock at night. And they gave us an eighth, 3.5 grams. But we also had cacao, which like doubles it. We also had a bunch of other different plant medicines to go with it.
Did you just eat it, or did you take it in a tea?
No, we just ate it straight
Yeah.
up. And we started at 10 o'clock at night. There was probably like 15 people, but it wasn't social. We're all there the whole night, having our own experiences right next to each other. There's no talking. There's just you and...
Are you laying on a mat or something, or you're...
Yeah, you can lay on mats. There's a fire. I laid in a chair, and I don't know if I was sleeping because it's hard to sleep on mushrooms.
Yeah.
But I was in a different world.
Yeah.
And they have the shamans come around every once in a while and like give you different sounds or check up on you. But during that first trip I had, I think this is what prompted me to do the childhood thing, because I went back and I like was face to face with my child. It felt so real.
Yeah.
I was literally talking to my childhood self.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what this means, but I've carried it. My childhood self, I must have been like worried about death or something. And my childhood self was like, you don't have to be scared of death. You live forever. And I don't know what that means. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I've carried that. Like, that day I was just like, do I want to die? No. But
Right.
like, I guess I don't have to be scared.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How full circle is this conversation? Because we literally started by talking about whether or not you're going to continue riding your motorcycle.
I mean, that's pretty full circle.
Right? Like about living and dying, and like whether or not we take that risk and just do what we want to do and have fun, or do we play cautious and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I mean, it's I guess it's pretty full circle, because it's like
maybe your inner child is telling you to keep riding.
Yeah, oh, for sure, and I have been, but but it's it's like when you think about it at its core, you're like, any second it could all be over.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, what does that even mean?
Right.
And then you're like, I don't know, and I can't find. There's no way for me to find out unless it happens.
Right.
So, I guess whatever I'm doing right now has to be awesome all the time, as much as it can.
Yeah.
Be.
And like, just living right now in the moment. And I think the more I find myself doing that, the less I can feel my anxiety, because anxiety really is like, it's either living in the future or living in the past.
Exactly.
And when you're
There's
living
something there
in the moment, like you're not feeling anxious. So that's why I try to be pretty like intentional and like spend time in the woods. I'm getting to this point because from 18 to 40, I was in one relationship or another. So like I always had someone to do something with.
Yeah.
And then and that really helped the anxiety too, because like socially, I was afraid to do shit. So I always had someone to do shit with. But then once I wasn't, like, I remember the first time I went to get ice cream by myself. I took a Snapchat and sent it to a few of my friends. I was really proud of myself. Like, I just did this.
Yeah.
But now I'll go play disc golf by myself. I love to go hiking by myself. I truly love to be by myself.
Yeah, that's great.
And do shit. Going to the sauna was one of the first social, outside of, like I told you, coaching volleyball, and through that I always had a community, you know. And then my kids gave me a community because they're friends' parents and sports parents, and like, so now that they're graduating, like, who's my community, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the parts I loved about the sauna is that at max there's only 15 people. So I can manage 15 people. Like, that's pretty good. But that literally was probably like it's been one of the first things that I've like joined on my own.
Nice.
I was given a membership to a yoga studio last year, and I did that, and that was scary.
Yeah.
But that was fun. I enjoyed that. But yeah, no,
No, I get that. I was with somebody for 15 years, like since we were 18.
Right.
And so that whole like when we separated, going out alone, I'd be like, didn't know what to do.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, my friends would be like, just go grab something to eat, chill out, and I'd be like, no, that sounds insane. People would be like, what the hell, this loser? And now I'm like, that was so crazy the way to think like that, because like now I don't care. I'll go out to eat alone. I'll have fun by myself.
Right.
Like I have no feelings about it. But yeah, it's like how crazy.
Yeah, it took me 45 years to.
And it's crazy because it's like, you're the one who held you back.
Right.
You're the one.
Literally.
Nobody else.
Nobody
gives
else.
a fuck.
Right.
Like,
right.
and you're like, no, I'm gonna lay in bed for a week because I'm scared to go sit at a table by myself.
Yes. But I know so many people that deal with this, that struggle with this, that are so paralyzed. I don't know. How do we get so afraid of the world and afraid of each other?
I mean, technology definitely put a damper on things.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know. But that is funny because I remember so vividly just being scared to go out by myself. And so stupid.
I definitely was feeling some sort of way going to the sauna my very first time. The first time I brought my sister, so that was fine. The second time, going solo was scary. But it was fine. I got over it. And now it's just like nothing.
Now it's the place. So on top of normal life stressors, we don't have to dig too much into politics. I'm sure you don't want to do that. But how do you look out into the world and manage that?
I don't. Basically, I have cut out so much news from my life, and there's a part of me that has struggled with, like, you know, you need to stay informed, like you need to be on top of some things, and like it matters. But I am so protective, and maybe this is like not healthy, you know, in and of itself, but I don't. I'm so out of the loop. I feel like I'm pausing on, because I don't want to feel this way, because I know that I can make a difference, but I feel like
I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
it's too big of a thing for me. It's too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. And where I land is I just have to have hope and understanding that we're just in our generation, our like existence in humanity is such a blimp in evolution, in history, that we're just
Here for the ride.
yeah, we're in the suck. This is our suck that our generation is stuck with. And no matter who you are, where you live, what culture, what, background you come from, we all have something that sucks. We all have tragedy. Life on this planet comes with suffering, but like, look at where we are.
But
like,
then that's, yeah, no, for sure.
This is how I manage, is when life out there gets too big and I get too drowned, like when I'm drowning too much of it, is I go in nature.
And I agree. I deal particularly, though, with like, although I say a little more in the mix on what's going on,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily better, because I'm in the same position as you, where I individually don't have anything I can do.
Right.
But
Other than
if
vote
we
when
all
it matter,
think like
right?
that, though,
oh, I know, I agree.
we're not going to go anywhere.
I agree, and that's why it took me so long to say that,
Yeah.
because I understand that.
Right.
Like, I guess I just go back to this one counseling session where I was literally starting to lose my mind over, this was 2016. So I was starting to lose my mind over who I knew was going to be elected. Or maybe he was already elected and it was when he was appointing someone to the Supreme Court. I was like, this lunatic con artist is the one in charge of this. Like, and I was just in a really downward spiral about it, and I was struggling, and it was just like snowballing into everything in my life. And my counselor was like, do you need to know what's happening? She's like, at the end of the day, what's going to change? And I didn't forget like exactly how she worded it, but like at the end of the day, like what is going to change in my world if and when the president does what the president's going to do, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to have to get up and go to work. I'm still going to have to feed my kids. I'm still, like, I guess I had too many other, like, life stressors to go outward.
That's how they trap us, though.
I know.
I'm on the both sides of the
agree.
coin, because again, like I could make an argument against obviously everything, but at the end of the day, I'm in the same position as you, where like just because I know things, it doesn't. It's just making my life more miserable. But at the same time, it's like there are certain things, and I think I struggle with a lot of guilt, because you look at like who's being targeted, who's getting their land destroyed, and you're like, oh, I could shut this off and just not pay attention, but then you're like, yeah, but if this was me or my friends or the people around me, I would want somebody to pay attention. But it's like, I don't know, it's just that is like a never-ending, like there's no way. Does that come from
yeah, so is my turning it off self-preservation, or is that privilege?
I think it's privilege.
Or is it both? Can we land on both?
We can. How we definitely can.
This is the downfall with podcast versus videos, because nobody can see that you were smiling at me as you were saying that.
We definitely can, cause
Meaning, no, it's just privilege.
yeah, it's really just privilege. Cause if your city receives a bomb on it, you don't have.
Right.
But this is the only part where I don't think anybody has the answer as to how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Because I think collectively we are all going through this. Some people are choosing not to see it or see it differently.
Yeah.
However, there's a basic truth of what's going on. And we're kind of all in society kind of figuring out what, like, okay, am I going to turn it off?
Yeah.
Am I going to watch? Am I going to do a little bit of both?
Yeah.
But we're like hanging out, going to the bars, and we're just like, yeah, we know this fucked up shit's going on, but we're at the loop here where it's like, well, we have to live too. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I don't even know.
So,
I could go on forever about it because it's insane.
What would be my first step, or I don't know, how do I self-preserve and fight at the same time? And I don't know if fight is the right word. Be involved. Outside of like voting, like part of it for me is like, how do I get involved in a system I don't believe in?
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to. I don't like either side. I think it's a them versus us. And I do think that's where us need to rally against them.
Well, don't they say like the biggest way to fight tyranny is community? Something like that?
So are we essentially doing that within our own lives?
Yeah.
By creating community and for ourselves? Like, isn't that what you're doing?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Isn't that what I'm doing with the podcast?
Yeah.
Creating our own sense of community? Or are you saying we need to go bigger? Or we need to join
No, I'm just...
something bigger?
I was just speaking in, I guess, generalities. Like, that's the best you can do, right? Because that's the only way you just have to get stronger with the people around you so that when something comes to you, you guys are all like,
Right.
not in this community.
Right.
Not here.
Right. Yeah.
Other than that, all of it's just like hero talk. Because who's realistically going to be swooping down and saving the day, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like things like talking, podcasts, social groups, walking, wanderers,
Book clubs.
like just, yes, meet people in your community and try to just foster the best connections you can with them so that if you're getting picked on, I'm going to step in, you know?
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah. But that's the only way I know how.
Yeah. I think you're doing a really good job of it.
I think you too.
I enjoy the connections I have met through the communities you're creating. Yeah.
We're
and
trying.
through the communities that the sauna is creating. And I think that's why it's hard to pinpoint what tool has been the best for me, or like what tool has it's really a toss-up between nutrition and community and connection. As what has helped me and what makes me feel the most alive. I had this thing that I posted. There were 4 different categories, and one was thriving, and the bottom one was in crisis. So and there was 2 in the middle that I forget, struggling maybe. Community and connection, I feel is what got me from that struggling into that thriving.
Yeah.
I don't know, and just I guess finding people to sit with you in your misery and have fun with too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like that question though. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question we got right now.
Yeah, I agree. It is a big one. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's covered.
I really appreciate you
Yeah,
coming on
thanks for having me.
and doing this. Now let's go hit the slides.
Well, you hit the slide, I'll watch.